Today, I would actually like to go over how we make the tier lists here at Mobalytics, how we actually come up with the rankings and the champion statistics that we use in order to position our champions accordingly on the tier list. This video is just being made to help with transparency, that way you can understand as the user where we're coming from when we make the tier list. So let's get into it. Firstly, let's just talk about who are the people that make the decisions. Well, there's three of us. There is Moriarty, there is Mr. Benson, and myself, Exile. The three of us are incredibly dedicated analysts to the game, and we all range from Diamond all the way up to Challenger. The other good thing is that we all play different positions, that way we can get some different perspectives. Moriarty plays mid, jungle, and AD carry, Mr. Benson plays bot lane and top lane, and I play top lane and mid lane. More than just playing a lot of games of solo queue, we're all very dedicated to making sure we understand the game. We all watch competitive play very religiously, constantly checking win rates, play rates, anything we can do to get our hands on league analytics, we're doing it. In order to show you, I'd like to give you three examples or three case studies of champions in the last tier list and how they end up where they do. To start off, let's go over Ashe, who is an A tier champion. As she stands right now, Ashe is doing pretty well. She has a top 5 spot in Korean win rates, and all around the world, she's typically in the top 10. The question is, what factors make her land in A tier? What about S or B tier? Well, Ashe overall is a pretty easy to play champion. She's one of the easiest ADCs. She's also more supportive and she helps her team quite a lot. There might be a misconception that a hard carry or 1v9 champions are the most successful in solo queue, but typically this is not the case for overall win rates. It should be, for all intents and purposes, expected that Ashe to have a play rate and win percent somewhere around what she does. If Ashe were to be above a benchmark of, let's say, 53 or 54%, that would most likely mean she gets slotted into S tier, and of course if she were to be below a certain benchmark of, let's say, 47 or 48%, she would either be B tier or off the list. How about we take another example in Nami, who is an S tier support. For Nami, she has been in the top 5 win rate and pick rate all around the world for supports for the last several patches. Her items are good, her rune choices are good, and she has been a consistent pick, meaning that over the course of many patches, she hasn't really budged from a top 5 spot. We tend to value trends and consistency quite a bit, and if a champion randomly shoots its way up to the best stats or the most picked out of nowhere, we like to take the time to examine the champion further. Somebody like Nami or Janna for supports feel like they've been good for 2 or 3 seasons now, and it makes it quite a bit easier for us to recommend players to play them, and the stats can back up this feeling. For the third and final case example, let's go into Kindred for the jungle. Right now, Kindred is not a champion that has very good stats, roughly around a 48 to 49% win rate across many regions and many elos, yet she still makes it into A tier. Why is that? Over the last couple of patches, Kindred has received some nice buffs. She got the quality of life buffs, that way your teammates can no longer steal your mark, as well as she got some damage and attack speed buffs to her Q. She's really good. The other reason that Kindred is there is based on the jungle changes, which we think is a lot better for Kindred than people think, allowing us to make the prediction that she can move her way into A tier. Remember, there could be any number of reasons why Kindred has low stats. First of all, the learning curve of the champion, which we've taken into account by assigning a severe or red learning curve to the champion. Another reason could be lack of optimization. Almost all season, players have debated whether you go press the attack, lethal tempo, electrocute, fleet footwork, dark harvest even. Kindred players have tried everything. Once more people start playing Kindred and start picking her up, copying the one tricks and trying a bunch of different builds, it's reasonable to believe that a little bit of optimization could go a long way and her win rate could surpass 50%. Even if right now the general player base is struggling ever so slightly, Kindred at the moment is a classic example of why win rates will not tell you the full story. You need to understand the context behind it, which allows you to make a little bit of a prediction for the future. The difficulty of the champion and the ease of success in solo queue goes a long way in determining how good a champion is compared to their win rate. Everybody knows who watches any sort of competitive play or high elo understands that Ryze is a very good champion, yet always struggles in the win rate chart. He almost consistently is one of, if not the worst win rate champion for mid lane, yet he's still picked by the best of the best players. To be completely fair to everybody, Ryze is not necessarily the best solo queue champion compared to competitive 5v5 play, but also the champion is just incredibly hard to play and make work. There are a lot of much easier mid lane champions that we can recommend, even when Ryze is really good. So you can use this rule inversely. If Ryze starts creeping up above or close to a 50% win rate, that really means that the champion is very good and probably very overpowered. You can always assume that Ryze is going to have around a 45% win rate, so when he does actually creep up to those 50 numbers, that means the champion is very good and we can definitely recommend him. It's a pretty simple inverse property. When a champion is really hard to play, you can expect their win rate to be lower, and when a champion has a pretty high win rate and a high play rate, you can assume that they're going to be pretty easy to play. To conclude this video, remember that of course our tier lists come out at the beginning and sometimes even before the patch cycle, meaning that we go off previous power and then predict expected power due to the changes. So we do admit when we are wrong, and we make the changes weekly during our tier list update. We use a multitude of reasons and metrics to help bring as accurate of a tier list as possible. And if there's anything you feel like we've missed out on in the past, we greatly appreciate you letting us know in the comment section down below in all of our tier list videos. As for this one, let us know what you think of the process and give us some feedback. We hope that this video was helpful for you, and we hope that the transparency is something that you can appreciate that we're trying to bring you here at Mobalytics. Thank you for watching, check out the product at mobalytics.gg, and follow us on all of our socials.